If you like this channel and what I do here, please help to support my work by checking out one of my books, available from Lulu Publishing and Amazon.com. Thank you. Hi folks, welcome to Electric Media Madness for another review of The Mandalorian, Episode 3, aka Chapter 11, The Heiress. Joined by Dan Ryan. How you doing, mate?
Good.
This episode was absolutely bloody brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about it, but because we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. But I'm going to get into my reasons why I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've watched it twice already because I wanted to see, because I wanted to see if I'd missed anything from the first one. Just because when I was thinking about my score and the things that I liked about it, I thought, am I just being a victim of the member berries here or things like that? And no, I'm not. Well, there is a lot of member berry stuff that's going on. So before we jump into this video, we will say there are major plot spoilers in this video. So please make sure you've watched the episode first before you listen to our discussion. So I'm just going to very, very briefly go through the plot, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
This is a very straightforward story. It's only 35 minutes long, the episode. It feels like a film. There's so much that happens in it. It doesn't feel squashed. In fact, I would have liked to have seen more, but it felt like there was a lot more, if that makes sense. It felt like it was a movie length, or at least an hour anyway. There's so much happens, and it's so well put together. We tail off on the end of the previous episode where we've got Mando returning Frog Lady home. She meets up with Frog Husband, and they go off together with their little frog eggs and all that. The Frog Man tells Mando that he can get information about other Mandalorians at this nearby bar type thing. So him and Baby Yoda go there. They talk to a Mon Calamari, one of Admiral Akbar's people. He says basically there's this ship that's going to, it's a couple of hours ride away, and if he goes on this ship, he'll find some Mandalorians. So he goes on the ship, and the captain of the ship says to him, "Oh, have you and little Baby Yoda ever seen what's it called? I can't remember the name of a mammacore creature before eating?" And they throw some fish in for this mammacore thing, and then they whack Baby Yoda into the mouth of the creature. And Mando jumps in the water to try and get him out, and it's all looking hopeless. And then all of a sudden, 3 Mandalorians turn up and start shooting. And this is where it gets a little bit awkward for you, possibly, potentially. I don't know.
Yes, it did.
But instantly from the armor, you know who this character is if you've watched the Clone Wars and Rebels.
I haven't.
It's Bo-Katan. Played brilliantly by Katie Sackhoff, who also did the voice for the character in the Clone Wars and Rebels. So she's back playing the character, but in live action form now. She's a fantastic actress. I love her in the reboot of Battlestar Galactica as Starbuck, one of the best characters in the recent years of science. Well, probably ever actually in science fiction, one of the best female characters. Not the best, but one of the best. Excellent actress as well. So they rescue Baby Yoda, they rescue Mando, but Mando's not very impressed with the fact that they don't follow the ancient ways as he does, because they are Death Watch. At one time or another they were. So they're like a splinter group of the Mandalorians who are trying to retake the Mandalorian homeworld from the powers that be. It's all to do with what happened during the Clone Wars, the war between the Republic and the Separatists and that kind of thing. In the series, eventually Darth Maul takes over very briefly of the Mandalorian homeworld, and they stage a sort of a coup. And it's her sister, Duchess Satine, who was the ruler, exiled ruler eventually, etc., etc. So she's effectively what you could consider to be heir to the throne. And she's like, come with us. And he's like, well, you're not doing it the way I do it, because they take their helmets off as well, and he won't. So they're not very impressed. He's not very impressed really. So he flies off, takes Baby Yoda with him, leaves the ship. They blow up the ship. You see that from a distance in the sea, and then they fly back to the harbour port type place, wherever it is. And there's the family, or is it the brother of the ship's captain, who surrounds Mando. They only want his Beskar armor, don't they?
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. Is that, yeah, they're after his armor. Because I thought they were perhaps after Baby Yoda, but they just wanted the armor. But then Bo-Katan and the others turn up again, and they save him, and they kill all the others and that. And she says that she can lead Mando to a Jedi who can help them, help Mando, sort of like, because that's ultimately what he's trying to do. He's trying to find out the purpose of Baby Yoda. It's never really alluded to in the series what he's trying to do with Yoda, Baby Yoda, but here in the episode, he actually does say, "I want to reunite Baby Yoda with with any Jedi that are left." So it's very much clarified at this point now what's actually going on. So he leaves Baby Yoda with the Frog Lady, which I thought was a bit weird, but, you know, does he? Yeah. I know he's only known her for a short time and thinks he can trust her, but are these pair going to be like able to protect Baby Yoda against a band of raiders or bounty hunters? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So in exchange for the information about where the Jedi are, Mando agrees to join this attack on an Imperial weapons shipment with Bo-Katan and the others. They succeed. There's some great scenes in that. I'll come to them in a minute. And also another brilliant actor in the series as well. And they find out that Gideon comes over like the holographic communication system where we saw at the end of season 1, and he's like, "Don't let them get this shipment of weapons. You're going to have to like fly the ship into the sea." But they managed to get in there and they managed to save the ship in time. We find out that Bo-Katan's looking for the Darksaber that Gideon had at the end of season 1. That's like she considers that to be like the weapon that they can use for her to be the rightful heir to rule Mandalore. We find that out during Rebels and the Clone Wars and that kind of thing. So they're after that. And so he says, "I can't go with you and do what you're going to do, but I appreciate all your help. Give me the information." And she says, "The Jedi that you're looking for is Ahsoka Tano." And the episode pretty much ends there.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts then?
Well, a lot of it sort of went over my head because I haven't...
Because you've recently started... I mean, you watched the beginning of the Clone... I think you saw the film one at the cinema when you were young.
Yeah, I was about 8.
You watched a few of the first season there.
I said to you... I found a list. You need to watch this. I started watching some of it, and I got to the very first, 3 episodes introducing the Mandalore plot.
Right.
So, I'm a bit behind.
So you're only just at the very beginning. Yeah. I mean, you really are in for a treat. There's a lot of episodes to watch. The story continues in the Rebels series. Rebels is a funny series because it's like, as it stands on its own, I'm not particularly that wild of Rebels, but occasionally Rebels just suddenly becomes like a continuation of the Clone Wars. And you get like Darth Maul, and you get Ahsoka Tano, you get the Death Watch, all that kind of thing, the Mandalorians and that. So stuff to do with Palpatine and the Wills and all this kind of thing. So it has these moments of brilliance, Rebels does, but then it kind of just goes back to being normal Rebels again, and it's not that good. I mean, it's all right, serviceable, but it doesn't have the same wow, and it doesn't have the same lore running through it as the Clone Wars does. So yeah, you're in for a treat when you do eventually get around to watching all of them. So taking that aside, even though a lot of it did go over your head, I was wondering if you could just, because it's interesting to sort of see somebody who doesn't have that background to it. What did you think of it in its own right as an episode?
Well, it's a very entertaining episode.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very exciting action scenes and stuff like that. And I mean, you can kind of sort of piece together some of it watching it.
Yeah.
You sort of get the gist anyway. So I think people
it doesn't
who
go
haven't
into
seen it would probably be alright with this.
It dips into the lore enough to please the hardcore fans, but it doesn't alienate it. Even if you're not familiar with it all, you get enough information here to know that she's considers herself to be the heir and to go home and retake Mandalore. That's pretty much established here. Enough to know, even if you don't understand the deeper significance of it all. So yeah. So carry on, sorry.
Obviously, Ahsoka at the end. Everyone knows who Ahsoka is.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how they do that.
Yes, and me. I'm very interested. When I initially saw Bo-Katan appear, because she's got distinct armor, so you know that that's the character with the patterns on it and everything. And I thought, oh god, no! And then I heard the voice, and I thought, is that Katie Sackhoff? Oh no, that's good. But is it going to be Katie Sackhoff? I think she's going to take a helmet off or not. She does, and it's her. And they've made her look just like the animated one as well. And
I had a look at a picture after, actually. I was like, have I seen that character? I haven't, I don't think.
Right.
But
okay.
But yeah, they did a good job with making it look.
Yeah. And she plays it sometimes with characters that do animated voice, like voiceovers for animation or that. When they actually come to do them live action, they don't pull off the enunciation of the voice right, or the mannerisms and that. But I think it's pretty much there. It's not quite, it's a tiny little bit off, but maybe that's because we're just seeing Katie Sackhoff doing it real live action. So but it's not jarring. It's not jarring for me anyway. It might be for some people out there, the diehard lovers of the animation. It doesn't work as live action, but it was fine for me. It worked for me. So yeah. What did you think of her performance in general in it?
It's good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it weren't Starbuck, but it was good.
No, it's never going to be Starbuck, is it?
No.
I think she could have that on her tombstone, isn't she? Whether unfortunately, I know actors don't like to be typecast, stereotyped, and that, but she's that's going to be the at least up to this point, that's going to be the role she's always going to be remembered for.
Yeah.
And I sort of flick wildly with Katie Sackhoff because, like I say, love her in BSG. But that recent series, what was it called? Another Earth, the one that she was playing the main role in it, woke as shit. I didn't like the show at all. It's a shame, really, because she acts good in it. Her acting's good in it, but it's just not for me. So that's the trouble. But that's something that it doesn't happen here. I'm sure there will be some people who say there are things about this that are woke. I didn't pick up on it. It didn't seem to be Disney politics banging me over the head. It just felt like a great slice of distractionist real Star Wars.
Yeah.
With stormtroopers and Imperial captains and that. Yeah. And I love that AT-AT with the crane on top of it as well that lifted the Razor Crest out of the water and drive it. Oh, it was brilliant. That was. Yeah. Special effects were fantastic.
Yeah, they always are.
Cinematography,
Yeah.
The way it looks, the ship as well, made it got sort of I know I'm probably completely off the mark here, but felt like it got a touch of the Game of Thrones feel to it. The ancient ships across the sea and all that, that kind of thing. Although obviously it was technological, but it just, and the dark greyness of it, it was almost like the Iron Isles in Game of Thrones, that sort of dingy, dark, rainy sort of horribleness of things, and the sea creature, the Manticore, and all that kind of thing. So there was so much going on here, so much. Another great actor, Titus Welaveo, who played the captain of the Imperial ship as well. Been in loads of things. We've seen Lost and Star Trek Voyager, two-parter Equinox. Great actor. Didn't really get an awful lot to do here, but what he did was good. So, and we had the return of Gideon as well, which was a nice little touch as well. So I don't really know what to say because it pushed all the buttons. So your perspectives on this episode really are going to be as it is without understanding the greater thing. But what I love about this is that they've kind of I like the overall theme of the Mandalorian, the feel of the Mandalorian anyway. Like last week, it was a really sort of a nondescript episode, but it still was. It had a noise. The universe feels comfortable, doesn't it, to watch? And that it doesn't feel jarring. It doesn't feel, and so far so good in terms of with Dave Filoni, with all the history he's got with the Clone Wars and Rebels and that, sort of bringing these two separate things together now into the Mandalorian. There was always the concern that it might not work, that it would just trample all over what's been established. What I saw of this episode feels good, and I'll hold my judgment on that until further down the line. But what I couldn't get over though was 35-minute episode, and it felt so much more.
It did. A lot happens in this.
But not in a dragging kind of way, not in a boring kind of way. It rattled through like a freight train, but in a good way. It's well paced, well edited. Yeah. So unless there's anything else you want to say, there's not. It's been mostly me with this one, and obviously But
I mean, all I get from this really is like what it tells you, and action looks really good in this.
Yeah,
So that's all I've got really for it.
It was. I mean, the action was brilliant. I know it didn't last particularly long, but the fight with the Manticore, to save Yoda, baby Yoda, that from the Manticore, the fight with the squid faces in the on the harbour,
Getting through the ship as well.
Going through the ship with the stormtroopers, and that was real. And I loved the scene where what was the line? They're in the cargo control area, and it's like, well, they're in the cargo control area, and all of a sudden you see the door open, and they just like decompress out. Yeah, that's sort of typical Bo-Katan sort of tactics,
One thing I kind of noticed was like, while they're all going through, they're taking out all the stormtroopers. Mando there's one bit where he just sort of looks at his gun, and he's just like.
Yeah,
because they're doing everything.
Because they're doing everything, aren't they?
He's just like,
yeah. And I'm sure there'll be people out there who'll say, "Oh, by doing this, they're making like the female more prominent now than Mando." Like he's sort of surplus requirements. I don't see it that way personally, because these characters have already been established as being what they are from the Clone Wars and Rebels. They're excellent warriors. They're very skilled. They know their tactics and all the rest of it. Their deep sort of belief in their culture and where they've come from and all this kind of thing, the practices and all that, and everything they stand for, and freeing Mandalore as well. So it's consistent. Their behaviour in this episode is not. It's not. I don't see it as being some sort of Disney identity politics platform. It's just them being consistent with the characters they've always been in the series. So
well, yeah, who they are, it would make sense that they're stronger than
exactly.
Mando. So
yeah. So shall we, unless there's anything else, shall we rate the episode?
Yeah.
Okay then.
So I think we might have different ratings this episode.
Okay, yeah, I suspected as much, yeah.
I think after I've watched the Clone Wars, I will probably up this rating. And probably gush over it like you do, but I was just like...
Yeah.
Who's this? When she was in...
Yeah.
And after the episode, I was like, is this the one they brought back from the Clone Wars? So the main thing here, the main thing is Bo-Katan, is Katie Sackhoff. That's the overriding thing. I did mean to go back afterwards because the other two characters kind of got lost in there. I think they might be existing characters but I never caught their names because of them being live action versions. There might have been something on the armor that identified them as characters from the existing lore, but I just missed it. I will have to go back and have a look at that. But the main thing, really, the takeaway here, the big shot, the big spoiler is Bo-Katan. So yeah. Okay then. 8.5, I give it.
8.5.
Yeah.
Okay, that surprised me. That has surprised me because I thought it would be lower than that.
Did you?
I thought you'd say something like a. No, I thought you'd give it like a solid 7, but yeah.
It's one of the better episodes in the show, but. Yeah.
Is it just because I'm just being pleased by member berries here and things like that, or the fact that it's a character that I liked, played by an actress that I liked, with lots of really good action and all that kind of thing, and it looked great and all that kind of thing? Is it just that? But if that works, that works. 9.5. So that's where I am with that.
That's a high one.
It is, yeah. It pushed all the buttons for me. I'm a big fan of the Clone Wars, and I liked the stuff in Rebels when they, went back to the Clone Wars story. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, and it's just great seeing it live action now. I'm not one of these snobs who's like, oh, animation is just for children, or it's just, the people that say things like, no. I mean, you're a big sort of anime fan, which people could say is the same kind of thing. No, it's not. So children do watch it as well, obviously.
Same as everything. Some's for kids.
It's the same with everything. Yeah, it's like that's thing where they say, "Oh, Star Wars is for children." Star Wars is for all ages. Well, what it used to be, and then it obviously went off the rails completely with the sequel trilogy. But this is definitely a jump in the right direction. I'm really, really pleased with this. It's a jump in the right direction, and it's so nice to watch something that is just, it's just great. It's just entertaining. So with that, then we'll leave it here for now. And as we said in our Discovery video as well, you're not going to be joining me for the next episode review. because you have your PS5
that comes
imminently
out next
arriving.
week,
So we got to give you time to have a play and all that.
Yeah.
But all being well, you're going to be joining me for the week after, and you will catch up as well, so that you can. All right then. So for now, I'll just say thank you very much for watching the video. Thanks for joining me and Dan. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and we will both see you again very, very soon. Take care.
Goodbye.